Hey family, this is Lady Wisdom. Do you ever find yourself so focused on your problem that you have difficulty coming up with a solution? Problems are going to come in life, and it's not so much the problem itself, it's how we respond and how we react to that problem in our life. So I challenge you, the next time you have a problem, focus on the solution so you can get past that problem. This is Lady Wisdom, and make sure you stay connected with the TV talk show, My Journey with Paula G. Until then, embrace the journey. Welcome to My Journey with Paula G, where we are juggling this journey called life while we're all walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. I welcome each and every one of you, my journey embracers. And if this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are returning, mwah, I appreciate you all so much because I always say at the beginning of each and every show, it will never change. Time is precious. It's the one thing we cannot get back. So for you to think it not robbery to spend this time with me out of all the choices that you have is truly, truly appreciated. So I thank each and every one of you. And I also want to thank those who have chosen to embrace the journey through their support. And that would be the underwriters. We thank them so very much for their underwriting support. Without them, we would not be able to bring you this programming. And if you have a business, a product, or service, and you're looking to gain exposure, you can reach out to us at Paula at paulagvoice.com or Jerry voicelive@gmail.com. Reach out to us, put underwriting opportunities in the subject line. We'll be sure to follow up with you. I encourage you to stay connected with me throughout all my social media platforms, Paula G Voice, across all platforms, my website, paulagvoice.com. And I invite you to check out the Weekend Channel. Shouts out to our producer, Jerry Voice Live, the Weekend Channel.tv. There's a variety of great programming, faith-based positive programming. And I'm blessed to have my own channel on the weekendchannel.tv. So that's another opportunity for you to check out My Journey with Paula G. So we thank you all so, so very much. All right, we're going to get into our discussion today. And what we're talking about today is the discernment journey. I know I've talked to you all about this before, but it bears a continued discussion. But before I do that, I want to share a scripture with you. It's just a short one. It's Psalm 73, verse 26. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. I'm preaching to myself this morning. We know that there are times that our mind and our body might fail us. But when we have the Spirit of the living God living and residing inside of us, that lives on forever. That can sustain us and that can bring us through. I know it has brought me through many, many situations. I can remember times, especially the time period when I had herniated disc. It was, I think, C7, C6, C7, somewhere in there. I was flat on my back. I could not move. Movement was so painful. It was indescribable. I could not move. And I just remember there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could say. I was looking up at the ceiling, and I just remember saying, Jesus, 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 and how when I would continue to say that, that would bring me a sense of peace, and it would bring me a sense of comfort to help me through those difficult moments when my body was in so much pain. So, yes, our bodies may fail, but He is our strength forever. So, I hope that encouraged someone today as we continue this journey. We continue juggling this journey that we call life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. And one of the things that we need to be mindful of, I believe, when we are engaging on this journey called life is discernment and understanding what discernment is. There's two things that I pray for on a daily basis: wisdom and discernment. And I've shared this with you all before. I sometimes interchange them, asking God to give me the discernment to recognize when he's speaking to me, give me the discernment to recognize opportunities, and the wisdom, the knowledge, the wisdom to know, then you've given me this opportunity, you've given me this insight, then giving me the wisdom to know what to do with that insight, to know what to do with the knowledge that he has given me, so that we continue to venture on the correct path. I recently, at the time of this particular record, I recently was dealing with a dental issue. I needed some dental surgery, and I was told that it would be extensive to include repositioning my jaw, which to me, that was a sugar-coated way of saying they're going to break my jaw. Just a thought of that sent chills up my spine. So, I was seeking different opinions and different consultations and different referrals, and I just wasn't feeling right about the process that I was being given, or the process that I was told would need to occur. But I knew I needed to get this work done. And this has gone on for me now. This has gone on maybe about maybe it might be a little over a year by now. Knowing that this work needed to be done, probably should have been done a long time ago, but something inside of me just kept saying, wait, this is just not the right scenario in order to get this work done that I needed to get done. And it involved multiple levels of dental work. That, the first level, okay, I can do that. But the second and third levels, I was feeling kind of uneasy about what direction I needed to go in, based on what the situation was. And during this time, I was prayerful, Lord, lead me, guide me to the right circumstance that I not only feel good about, I feel comfortable about moving forward, but that it will be effective and it will accomplish what needs to be accomplished without the extensive procedures that were being shared with me. And part of my anxiety about all of this, and we have these things that we hear in the counseling world called triggers, or we have these things where we have had previous experiences in our life, and when a similar experience is on the threshold, we feel a little apprehensive about it. And years ago, I had one of my dear aunts who had some extensive dental work in her winter season of life. She was in her 70s or so. And she wound up having a stroke as a result of having the work done, because at her age, it was just too traumatic. But she made the choice to get it done because of some of the discomfort that she was having. But in the process, the work that she had done, the process was successful, but the trauma to her system is what caused her to eventually have a stroke and eventually pass away. And sometimes I'm no doctor, so please don't take this as gospel. This is just my experience that I'm sharing with you. That sometimes there may be certain um, medical procedures that we find ourselves faced with during a season of our life where, while the procedure may be successful, the trauma of getting it done may be the thing that would cause problems. So I kind of had this anxiety and that in the back of my head in regard, to this. And like I said, I was going to different consultations and getting different opinions, and I just I just that gut feeling, that thing is real. That gut feeling just kept saying, nah, it's not quite, this is not quite it. This is not quite it. Finally, I was put in touch with with the right situation without sharing too many details. I was put in touch in connection with the right scenario in order for me to get done what needed to be done to at least alleviate the problem enough that I could coexist with the rest of it. And I could do so without all of that other extensive work that I was being told that I needed. And let me tell y'all, ooh, it really, mm, getting emotional. I'm sorry. It really, really was a blessing to be able to have the peace that I needed to be able to have that peace um, in order to get done what needed to be done in a manner that I was comfortable with and that gave resolution to the situation without the trauma. I'm going to pause right there. I think we got to take a break. Yeah. I'm going to pause right there. And when we come back on the flip side of the break, I'm going to share with you three things to consider when you're looking at discernment and discerning the situation. But let me say this before I go, that sometimes what I learned from this situation is the solution that I found was outside of my comfort zone. I had to travel to another state. Sometimes God will take you outside of your comfort zone in order to resolve what it is that needs to be resolved. I had to travel outside of my comfort zone, something I would have never thought of. Had to travel outside of my comfort zone in order to resolve this challenge. But we'll be back in a moment. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the discernment journey. I am Paula G, your host of Right Here, My Journey with Paula G, where we're juggling this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. We're going to take a break and we'll be back in a moment. Hey family, this is Paula G, and sometimes our negative mindset can hinder our progress. We have to unlock that negative mindset and create a new narrative in our mind so that we can move forward. And my Mindset Journey Masterclass can help you do just that. You can visit my website, paulagvoice.com, for more information. Embrace the journey. Welcome back to My Journey with Paula G, where we are juggling this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents God has given us. I am your host, Paula G. I think I forgot to mention that at the top of the show, but anyway, you know who I am. But we appreciate you being on this journey, each and every one of you, our journey embracers. We thank you all so much for tuning in each week. We want to take a moment again to thank our underwriters for their underwriting support. And if you have a business, product, or service you're looking for exposure in front of an audience, please email us, jerryroycelive@gmail.com or paula@paulagvoice.com. Put underwriting opportunities in the subject line and we will follow up with you. Follow me across all social media platforms, Paula G Voice. You can subscribe to my mailing list. You can subscribe to other areas on my platform. You can visit my website and you'll find everything over there as well. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about the discernment journey, and I was sharing with you a situation in which I needed some dental work done, and I was a bit uneasy about the process that I was being told I would need to go through. I just wasn't quite comfortable with it, and hindsight, I look back and definitely an option. Don't get me wrong, definitely an option, but not necessarily one I felt comfortable with. And then given the history of having an aunt that had some work done that wound up being a bit traumatic for her, I was a bit anxious about what needed to take place in order for me to solve this problem. But I continued to pursue the scenario that I felt comfortable with and I felt at peace with, but also rectify the situation. So, I want to stress to you that, anytime, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving medical advice, anything like that. I'm just saying with anything in life that you may not necessarily be comfortable with what it is that is being shared in regard to what needs to happen to resolve your concern or your issue or what have you, to continue to seek discernment, to continue to seek wisdom in how to go about accomplishing what it is that you need to accomplish. So for me, it wound up taking me outside of my comfort zone. I wound up having to go, not necessarily having to, but I wound up going to a different state to resolve this issue. So sometimes when you have a challenge, God will take you out of the comfort zone. I shared with you all a few episodes back in reference to when I purchased my vehicle. First of all, it was a vehicle that I never thought about purchasing because I didn't think I could afford it. Second of all, I had to travel an hour to get to the dealership where the car was. And my initial response is, I'm not driving an hour just to look at a car. What if I don't like it and I got to burn up my gas and the car that I've got might not make it in the first place? All of these things. But I took that leap of faith. I traveled that hour. And, now I'm very happy with the vehicle that I have that I never thought I would have because I never thought I would, I could afford it. But again, it speaks to the power of prayer because, there's certain things in a vehicle I asked God for. There was certain price that I asked for, and He delivered both much to my surprise. So sometimes you got to step outside the box when you are looking for that discernment, and step outside the box once you get that discernment, and then having the wisdom. That's what I'm trying to say. Have the wisdom to step outside the box so that you can do what it is that God has placed before you, and the door that He's opened for you. So, 3 things I want to share with you when it comes to discernment, and this speaks to different any situation. I guess you could say any situation. Number one, I say, is read the room. Read the room. When you are praying for discernment, what is going on around you? What are you being told? Let's say it's another person. What's the demeanor? What's the spirit? What's the body language? What's the intent? What's the agenda of the other person? And again, I'm speaking in general. Read the room. What else is going on around? What do you notice about this particular situation? How are you feeling? How does it make you feel? That gut feeling or that instinct, that intuition, whatever you want to label it, I believe God places it there for a reason. Because you think about it. You think about situations where, you had that little feeling or that little voice was like, I don't know about this. But you said to yourself, oh, I'm just being overreacting or whatever it is. And, it'll be fine. And then you went forward. And then hindsight, you said, oh man, I should have listened to that little voice. I should have listened to that little, whatever it is you want to call it, intuition, gut feeling, that I had. I think I feel that God gives us those things for a reason. So you got to read the room and see what's going on around you. The second thing, be honest with yourself. Don't be in denial. And this especially, we hear this a lot in relationships where you desire a certain relationship and somebody comes along and they meet some of that criteria, but then they may do something or say something, and in the back of your mind you're like, you start making excuses. Well, I can fix that, I can change that, that'll change, you know it's just whatever. You can fill in the blanks, and then later down the line, when you get involved in that relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is, when you get involved in that relationship, that little voice that was nagging at you at the beginning, like, this might be an issue, that issue now has manifested into a major issue that may ultimately wind up causing the end of that relationship. And you say to yourself, being honest with yourself, I saw this in the beginning, but fill in the blank. I saw this in the beginning, but fill in the blank. So be honest with yourself and don't be in denial, and recognize those little voices and address them. Address them up front and acknowledge them. And then the third thing, uh, Well, that's the third thing. Listen to that still small voice. You know, I always close the show listening to that still small. You got to listen to that still small voice, because a lot of times that still small voice is trying to tell us something. It's trying to, it's that discernment, it's that wisdom. It's trying to tell us something to help us in that particular situation. So I encourage you, and the prayer for wisdom and discern. I don't have a patent on it. I, it can be your prayer, praying for the discernment to recognize. Oh, I recognized it. I've got it. Now, Lord, give me the wisdom to know what to do as I'm moving forward. I hope that helps somebody today. We have come to the end of our journey. Journey embracers, continue to stay encouraged as you juggle this journey called life while walking in your gifts and your talents. You can connect with me through all the social media platforms. I am Paula G Voice across the board. PaulaGVoice.com is my website. Also, check out the weekend channel. Shouts out to Jerry Royce Live, our producer. Check out the weekendchannel.tv. There's a My Journey with Paula G channel on there as well. You can check that out. We're just so appreciative, and we're so excited about this journey. Thank you all for reaching out and for your feedback. We are going to continue to juggle our journey. I'm going to continue to encourage each and every one of you journey embracers to juggle this journey called life while walking in your gifts and talents. And remember that the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to what? The still small voice. Until next time, embrace the journey.
No one knows the day nor the hour when the sun
Happy family. This is Paula G, aka Lady Wisdom, host of My Journey with Paula G. And I just want to share with you all that we are so excited because our reach is expanding. We are now presently in the Brooklyn, New York area, the Atlanta, Georgia area, the DMV, and we are growing. So if you're looking for exposure for your business, product, or service, you can reach out to jerryvoicelive@gmail.com or Paula at paulagvoice.com. Put underwriting opportunities in the subject line, and we'll be sure to follow up with you as we all continue to spread the love, spread the word, and encourage each and every one of you to juggle this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. Until next time, embrace the journey.